Hey folks, happy Sunday. Live from Pictou County here. Hopefully you had a good Saturday and Sunday wherever you're at. It was a beautiful day yesterday, Saturday. Today was a little trickier today. Beautiful in the morning, but poured rain this afternoon. In fact, it was raining so bad that it was one of those little things where Carol and I were kind of just looking at each other saying, who's going to take the dogs out? It's kind of like when the kids were young and they would, who's going to change the, anyways, it was all that. So yeah, I ended up taking the dogs out. Listen, lots going on in the world for sure. I want to talk a little bit about COVID tonight. I want to talk about small business. I'm hoping that we can have a special guest join us here. We can get this technology to work. Looks like Devin's going to come in here now. I'm going to get him in here now. A little bit about small business, about what's happening in the province. So thanks for joining us tonight. And Devin's on his way, going to come into the room now. And entrepreneur in Nova Scotia. We're just going to talk a little bit about being an entrepreneur in this province, the impact of COVID on being an entrepreneur in this province, and really where this province goes going forward. So hope we can. There he's here. Thanks for joining us, Devin. Good.
Thanks, man.
A short notice too, actually. Devin did just for all the folks here. Devin, we're gonna talk a bit about your business, how you get into your business, how long you've been in business, all that stuff. It's very tough right now, but you did a post on the weekend, and I saw that post, reached out, and then we just connected about a half hour ago, and I said, hey man, you want to come on Facebook Live? So thank you for having the courage to do it. I appreciate it. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate being here.
So listen, just orientate. Look, it's this province built on small business, medium-sized business. We need entrepreneurs. We're known as hard workers in this province. But still, man, it takes a lot of courage to start a business. It's not for everyone. It takes a lot of courage, but you did it. When did that happen, and what was driving behind that?
Well, I've been a little background for me. I've been in the fitness industry as a personal trainer now for 27 years. I worked at a bunch of big box gyms before, and in 2007, I decided I wanted to go out on my own. I had 2 little kids, and I thought, you know what, that's the best time to do it, to go out on your own when you have little children. And then flash forward a little bit, I opened my own gym, and I've owned that for almost 11 years. I own 360 Fit in Burnside.
Right on. And so that's a long time, 11 years in small business. I mean, there's a lot of highs and lows in that period of time, particularly when you're first starting out, man. It takes a lot of courage. You must have had some sleepless nights at that time.
It does. I say all the time that small business is not for the faint of heart. I got divorced in the first year and a half because when you work 80 hours a week, it's a lot. Those things do happen. You sacrifice a lot when you're in small business. But I do come from a family of entrepreneurs. My dad is an entrepreneur. My brother is. My sister is. So everybody's done it. I sort of knew what I was getting into, sort of, to an extent.
You never fully known it. You were telling me before that you grew up in Inverness. You grew up with Alan McMaster, of course, one of my colleagues in the legislature, great guy. I want to see if you can confirm or deny something for me. Alan tells me that he's been an incredible athlete his entire life, and even to this day, he's a top-notch ice hockey goalie. Can you confirm whether or not Alan's a top-notch athlete in your mind?
Alan, I'll be honest. Alan has always been a sneaky good athlete. So he's one of those people that you think that maybe he's not going to get there in time, and he gets there in time. He's just always, he slides it under the radar at you.
Sneaky good is probably a good way to describe Alan. He's incredibly smart and dedicated to the people of Inverness and people of this province. I'm so proud to have him as my colleague. So listen, when you start out, you have to get clients. You got to train people. You got to get them to join up. So 11 years, you're a survivor. So just go back a year and a half pre-COVID. Tell me about what's happening in the gym. Growing customer base, probably a few people working in the gym as well. What did it look like pre-COVID?
Pre-COVID, actually, January and February were some of the biggest months we ever had at that point. We had 3 locations then. We had one in Dartmouth, one in Halifax, one in East Hants. I had 23 staff. It was a little wild. It was at that point where the business had sort of exploded. you get to a point sometimes in business where you're just putting in so much work repetitively, some things, good things do start to happen. So it had gotten very busy. And then obviously I started to hear, I remember the first time I ever heard the word coronavirus, I was doing some cardio in the morning watching CTV News, and they're talking about this virus from China, and everybody was concerned about it. And I think that was February. And suddenly, flash forward, I guess it was March 18th, you go from having 3 spaces and 23 staff. And my wife actually owns a salon, so we're both entrepreneurs. And she
Yeah.
had, I think, 7 or 8 staff at the time. And suddenly we have lay everybody up and go home. It was a very stressful time, especially in our household, because neither of us are coming from a position where, we have a job that you can do at home.
Yeah, and you're talking about, so that's impressive. Number one, 23 staff, and even on for your wife, and 7 or 8. That's really impressive. That's incredible growth. So you're just moving along. The virus hits. We go through the first shutdown. I'm sure you just kind of bucked up and got through it, right? Did your part. Public health, keep Nova Scotians safe. Just got through it, right?
That's pretty much exactly what happened. I mean, we just, nobody knows exactly, especially the first time around, nobody knew what they were doing. So my wife and I did everything we could. I tried to put, we tried to support our own staff, tried to support the clients that were still around. And come June, we were able to reopen. It was very exciting, to be honest. Usually it's frightening. I mean, my wife was suddenly working 12-hour days because everybody needed their hair done. And for me, it was a little frightening because you thought a lot of times you heard a lot about gyms being, a terrible place to go with COVID. So I really, when we reopened, I was, to be honest, really worried because I didn't know if anybody was going to come back. And when we reopened the doors and suddenly people come back, and all we heard about was, oh my God, I needed this for my mental health. I feel terrible. And all those things. You start to realize, hey, there's a little bit more to this than just trying to help people look fit or lose weight or whatever. There's actually some, we're actually helping people in different ways, which was really nice to hear.
Yeah, 100% it is. I mean, I try to keep into a fitness routine, kind of cardio, treadmill, elliptical, get my little routine going there. But absolutely, I mean, it's for my mental health. I mean, and you would see that for sure in your clientele. You're probably hearing from them now. They're probably, reaching out, and I'm sure they're suffering. So then we get through the first. It seemed like we were doing pretty good in this province. Now we have a third wave here in this province. I actually feel like we could have avoided it. Like, we just need to keep the wheel steady, get the vaccines rolling, just keep, and we were in a good place. But we took another path. We loosened restrictions. Some decisions were made. The variants arrived here, and now we're shut down now. And everyone's trying to figure out where things go from here. So you're trying to deal with where things go from here, right? That's basically what you're trying to deal with. What are you hearing from the general community? Are you hearing people who maybe don't understand what it's like to own a business, to feel an obligation to your clients, to your customers? Are you hearing much from them, or just not really hearing from them?
It's sort of broken in half, and I wouldn't, maybe not in half, but there's a percentage that understand what we do, are really supportive. I hear from people on a regular basis, thank God you guys are still going to be opening afterwards. People who say to me, and I get random, messages on Facebook and Instagram. We like to post motivational things and old videos and workout tips and all kinds of things. And we hear a lot of people saying, really appreciate the fact that you're attempting to do something in this. You haven't just gone dark. So there are some people that are really supportive and say, listen, I'm home with pay. I respect the heck out of the fact that you guys are in a real bind. Good luck. Hope everything goes well. We've had people reach out and say, I want to join your gym afterwards. So there's been some positives. There have been those people, and I hate to concentrate on the negatives, but there's been some people, and their attitudes basically are, why are you complaining? Go home, you have this herb, or CRB, I guess it is now. You're fine. And it's extremely frustrating when it's not, and I try to explain this to people in the nicest possible way, when you have your own bills at home. Yes, maybe, sir, the CRB can cover those things with my wife and I. But, I have $10,000 worth of rent that I have to pay every month commercially. Then I have heat and power, and I have, which is not as high now, obviously, but it's still there. I have leases on equipment that have to be paid. No one is saying to me, hey, don't worry about it. You're all good. And what sometimes can be frustrating is some people don't get that. They think, oh, there's government programs. You guys are all fine. There are businesses out there, lots of businesses that are drowning right now. And their owners are looking at this saying, I don't know if I have another 3 weeks in me or 2 weeks in me, because they are right at that point. People are living on their savings. They are unable to pay house bills. They're not able to feed themselves. That type of stuff is actually happening. Thank God for me. I say this all the time. Going through a divorce once makes you real careful with money. So I was careful with money. My wife is careful with money. So we're not in a place where we can't feed our kids. But the stress level's high. Between the two of us, there's enormous numbers of bills commercially that we have to pay, and basically hardly any way to pay them.
Yeah, I mean, you've been incredibly upbeat through it all, but I can't imagine the pressure of, the $10,000 a month in rent, month after month, piling up the equipment leases. And I know you're super worried about your staff too. And your own family, and it's just a lot. And you probably never asked for anything from the government before. And
No, I say this a lot. That I've never been unemployed. I've either been working for someone or working for myself. I started working for myself actually in high school. So it's been one of those things where suddenly you feel like you're going out with your hands out begging, and that's a terrible feeling. No one wants that. I mean, the people who are home right now, who can work from home and are able to be paid at home, and God bless you, good for you. But I guarantee none of them would want to be sitting there going, I'm hat in hand. I'm in a real problem here. What the heck am I going to do? No one wants to feel like they're begging or living off somebody. It's really tough. And as an entrepreneur, you like the idea of living off your wits. And the harder you work, the more you're going to get out of it if you do good things. And it's very, very frustrating, and it's depressing, to be quite honest. And I'm not a guy that gets super depressed. I tend to be pretty upbeat, but it's tough to sit there and say, wow, I'm in a position where I basically can't pay my bills unless the government helps me.
It's a lot. Like it's just a lot. I mean, it's a lot of pressure coming from a lot of angles, and you're not alone. Everyone's feeling that pressure in different ways. You're just feeling it for other people, for your clients, for your staff. Like you're wearing a lot, man, and much respect. And of course, the PC Party is a party. One of the core values of our party is personal achievement. So we respect entrepreneurs. We respect education, because we want people to always be pushing for personal achievement. So yours is actually a success story, man. Like 23, building that up, 3 locations, just getting going. There's 80 hours a week. I'm sure it was probably a small week for you. Actually, you're probably being modest, right? Honestly, but so now we need to get you through this. Like, as a society, we can't have small businesses crumbling and falling away, because they're the fabric of our community. They're also our volunteers. I'm sure you get a lot of people knocking on your door for hockey teams, for like everything, right? Like this is the reach of small business. So what is it that you would ask for from the government? Like, what do you want right now going forward? Is it just some certainty? Is it a program? Is it a combination? Like, how do we recognize that through no fault of your own, something that you built up is at risk of slipping away?
I think the first thing is we need to have some programs to help small business make it through this. One of my biggest frustrations here, and it doesn't exactly affect me, but it affects all the other entrepreneurs out there. When you have big box stores that are wide open, can sell anything they want, and all these other places are closed, can't compete. We have it's an uneven playing field. And while it doesn't affect me, a big gym is not open and I'm closed, I see it. And to listen to the premier just, I believe it was Friday, one of the last questions somebody asked him was, what are we going to do about the fact that, the Walmarts and Costco's of the world are able to sell lots of things that are not essential when other small businesses can't do that? And his response was, well, we asked them to stop, which I guess means that they just said no. And he said, okay, great. Look, that kind of stuff is, to be honest, infuriating to a small business, because you look at this and you say, wait a second, now we have everybody going to Walmart, and I am not a doctor. and I'm definitely not a politician, but I can say that I think funneling everybody to a couple places might not be the best plan, since there's going to be a concentration in those places. I mean, a 25% of a Walmart, I think I went into a Walmart the other day, was 827 people. That's a lot of people. I mean, 25% from my gym, we have about 8,800 square feet, I think comes out at 32 people total, and that counts staff, or 22 people, sorry, counting staff. So it's not a lot, and that means we can space out where, you know, a Walmart or a Costco can't. And I'm not trying to come down on Walmart and Costco. I understand they're needed and there's a place for them. But I think saying to them, hey, listen, could you please not sell non-essential items? And them going, nope. And everybody goes, oh, okay. That doesn't seem right to me. It just, and it puts all those small businesses at huge risk. They can't operate at all. That just seems wrong. So what I think needs to happen is we need a level playing field. So if non-essential things can't be sold, then they can't be sold. Pardon me. And I do understand that what is essential to one person is not essential to another. I think the premier said that the other day. I get that. And I'm on board with that, because lots of my clients and me, my wife, fitness is essential for me. I have been exercising since I was 14 years old. So it's been a long period. It's good for my mental health. It keeps me stable. It keeps me happy. I say all the time, I'm a much nicer guy when I exercise than when I'm not. So, you know what, that to me is essential, but that has been pushed to one side and said, no, that can't possibly be essential. But, you know, whatever it is that Walmart happens to be selling or Costco happens to be selling, that definitely is essential. You're getting into a slippery slope. So if we're going to close things, we need to close everybody and not sell any non-essential things, because it's not fair. And if we're going to be saying some of them can do it, then we need to open up and allow people to do it. And I don't mean wide open, but I mean, you know what, if one business can operate at 25% then, or 20%, I did a video on it today, and I said, you know, basically what we need is a bunch of restrictions in place so the business owners can do their job, because most of us, I say 99% of us, want to do the best we possibly can do, keep our staff safe, keep our clients safe. We're not going to flaunt rules. Give us some specific rules, basically like we did in June last year. We don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
Open in a smaller case, allow us to start making money. Then we don't need to come to the government saying, listen, I've been closed for, I mean, come June 9th, it'll be what, almost 2 months for me. That's $20,000 just in rent.
Yeah.
How am I going to come up with that? I don't want to come to the government. I honestly
right?
do not want to come to the government and ask for it. I don't, but I'm in a position where I'm stuck.
Yeah, so go back to last year, like the reopening plan. You must have invested a lot of time and energy, and I'm sure you were super, super cautious on, you don't want to get anyone sick. This is not in your gym, not in your family, not anywhere, right? So you were super cautious about that. How was that? You probably invested in that, making changes and stuff. Is that the type of thing that you want to say to the government? Like, hey, we did this part before. Can we have some clarity as to what it would take before you even ask for a plan? Have they asked for a plan? What would you do if you're reopening, or is any of that happening yet?
I haven't heard anybody ask for any plan from us. I mean, the government really doesn't speak well to us. They don't come to us and say, hey, what do you guys think? Even our reopening plan, basically the government came to us and said, so I'm part of a gym association, and they said to us, submit a plan. Each gym has to submit a plan. There's no guidelines for the plan, nothing. So when the first guy came in to check our plan, I had this 4.5-page plan all written down because I didn't know what to do. So I went as deep into it as possible, and he was laughing at me. He said, you know, most places have like a page. But I mean, I didn't overdo because I was worried. But I think every single business is the same. We will invest time and money to make sure those clients are safe, because those clients are our lifeblood. Without clients, I have nothing. Yeah. I'm completely useless without those clients. So I'm going to do everything I possibly can do to keep the clients happy, healthy, and feeling confident and safe. Even when we went, I mean, originally we were on the 6x6 foot spacing. We didn't do that in my gym. We went on a 6x8 foot spacing just to create a little bit more space. When they went to 9 feet, we went to 12 feet. Because again, I had the ability to do it, and I thought, better to be safer and do more than to do less. And I think I would say most business owners are like that. They're like me. They want to go above and beyond. We won't do the bare minimum. That's kind of our personalities. I mean, if we were doing the bare minimum, we wouldn't own businesses.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, and particularly you're in the health business, so I know you wouldn't do anything to sacrifice. But I think at this stage, how about the government asking for a reopening plan? How about the government advising Nova Scotians, like, if the cases get down to this, then this is what we can do. So let's work together, Nova Scotians, to get down, instead of the stick approach, right? The carrot. So that's what I'd like to see. And I was curious if the business groups are really hearing anything, because what I heard from the premier is that we can expect the reopening plan over the next couple of weeks. Well, how in the world are we going to develop that without talking to you and business owners?
I completely agree. I mean, it was the same thing that happened in December. November, December, we were shut down for a bit again. And it was super frustrating because we kept coming back to, and I kept going back to health saying, okay, what does the number need to be for us to be allowed to reopen? What are the active cases? What are the caseload per day?
Yeah.
No one can give you that answer. And I don't think, I understand that, COVID is a little bit of new territory, but we've had 14 months to figure this thing out. We should at this point say, okay, if you guys get to here, this is the number you're shooting for, then you can do, 25% open or whatever it needs to be. But with nothing to shoot at, you're sort of just standing there. And I think it's almost like treating the business community and treating general Nova Scotia like we're children. You're being kept in the dark. You don't need to know. You know what? I'm a big boy. Like, you can tell me I'm not going to flip out. I'm not going to lose my mind. I mean, if we need to get to 500 active cases, great. If we need to get to 200 active cases, great. Whatever it is, let's know what it is. Let's figure out that plan beforehand. Like I said before, it's not rocket science. I've done two reopenings now. So this is just the third one. I mean, it should be pretty easy now. Like, I mean, I guess not easy, but we should know roughly what we're getting into. And we should know, okay, these are the steps we're going to take.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're Nova Scotians. We're understanding. We're sympathetic. We're compassionate. Look how that's how we kept our case numbers down, is because we follow the rules and we want to keep each other safe. So I think it's not too much to ask for some clarity on what the government is looking for. That's what I'd like to see, because if we're truly all in it together, then let's be all in it together. So that's a disconnect. So I hope that the premier will reach out to the business community. And you're right, 14 months, there was lots of time to have a plan, and they could have just, oh no, we're in a third wave here, flick a switch, this is what happens, A, B, C. You'd have been fine with that, but just to not know where we're going is it's a little unfair.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel about it. I think that even on the second wave, I felt like we've done this already. Let me know what I need to do. I'll go do it. Like, everybody was, I think, and I know a ton of restaurant owners. I have a bunch of clients that own restaurants, and they were in the same boat. They're like, we know if you tell us what to do, we'll do it. We'll do everything we can to keep our people safe. You've had, at this point, I mean, 8 months to figure it out. Now we're into 14 months. This should almost be ready to go. I understand variants change things a little bit, but really what they do is they change the numbers and the caseload. They don't change how we reopen, because we still have to space, we still have to make good decisions. It's basically the same as the other one. You just have to be a little bit more careful.
Yeah, and I mean, at the time, I was wondering when the premier was making announcements about dogs on patios and these types of things, and I was thinking, like, come on, man, like, how about we test at the airport? How about we get the vaccines rolling? How about, now I've been kind of testing at the airports for sure, get the vaccine roll running. We're last in the country on that. But now, definitely, after what's happened over the last couple of weeks here, talk to the small business owners so that we can understand what's possible in this province for sure. Look, thank you for being so honest. I know this is an incredibly stressful time for you. You have a lot of support from Nova Scotians, and I hope you feel that, because you're being very honest about the pressure that you're feeling. And I for one, appreciate that.
Tim, I really appreciate you having me on. And to be honest, it's a small percentage of people who have been difficult. For the most part, I mean, I moved to Nova Scotia as a kid. Nova Scotia is the friendliest place to live. And people, like you said, we are willing to do our part. I mean, I'm a Nova Scotian. My wife is a Nova Scotian. We get it. Everybody gets it. Every business owner gets it. We all want to do the part and all the pieces to help us, but move forward. We just need the government to come out and tell us what we need to do instead of just stay home and be quiet.
Yeah, I mean, look, nobody wants to get anyone sick. Nobody wants that, right? But the only thing we're asking for is common sense from the government, and we're not seeing common sense in a lot of these decisions. We need clear, competent leadership. So I'm hopeful. We're optimistic. We keep being hopeful. But listen, man, thanks for being honest. I learned a lot tonight from this discussion. Probably the most surprising thing I learned was that Alan McMaster is actually a good athlete. So that's that's good to hear too. Thanks for making thanks for making time for me, folks. Colton LeBlanc's on tomorrow night. Tori Rushton's on tomorrow night. We'll be back, Devin. Man, keep your chin up, man. Hang in there, brother.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Take care.
Take care, man. Thank you.